the result of going through this process and seeing what I can achieve when I take the risk is rewarding in and of itself. If you can only support creators who provide value and make you think, please consider contributing to my Patreon page the next time you watch one of my videos. Good afternoon, everybody. Or hello. So today I kind of want to talk a little bit about life circumstances and situations and things like that. But the best way to really start is with the concept that Tony Robbins has talked about in a couple of his videos. And I've mentioned this question a few times before, but I really enjoy it. Every time I think about it, I'm like, oh yeah, he totally has something in that question. He has something in the responses that he gets, that's very true. So what I'm referring to is when Tony Robbins discusses finances with his audience, and he asks them, well, what is wealth to you? When would you feel wealthy? And typically he gets responses like, I'll feel wealthy when I can support all of the wants and desires of myself and the people I love. Or, I'll feel wealthy when I have enough money to go live on a yacht for the rest of my life. All these things, all of these life circumstances that supposedly will equal wealth once you attain them. The problem is you will always have another goal. So assuming that any particular goal being met therefore makes you wealthy means that you never really will feel wealthy in your lifetime. And in fact, wealth is not a goal that you can necessarily attain a certain amount of money in order to achieve. It's actually a feeling. You feel wealthy. It's kind of like happiness in that way. You feel happy. It doesn't actually have that much to do with your life circumstances. So when Tony Robbins discusses those financial situations, he talks about how you need to come up with specific numbers. Maybe pursue something else like financial freedom or all these other things. And one of the interesting points about wealth and about pretty much anything you want to achieve in life is that in order to truly achieve it, you first have to recognize the opportunities that come your way that can move you in the direction of that which you want. And you only really recognize those opportunities when you already match the feeling that you are trying to achieve. For example, with the wealth, if you feel wealthy, you're far more likely to earn more money because you're more capable of recognizing the opportunity when it comes. Now, I've talked about this concept in one of my former videos, but it really does, this concept continues to show up over and over and over again. In order to move forward, you kind of have to prime your brain to look for and find the opportunities so that you can achieve your desired goal. And you can't do that when you're constantly looking at how much your circumstances don't match it right now, because you're going to be too narrow in your focus. And that's kind of what a negative emotion is. It's a very narrow focus on something specific. Whereas when you generalize, and this is something that Abraham Hicks talks about as well, but when you generalize, your perspective broadens. Similarly, when you have a positive emotion, your perspective broadens even more. So if you want to be wealthy, if you want to be happy, your best chance at achieving either of those goals actually starts with your emotional state and your openness to opportunity. But just so that we can keep going with this wealth concept a little bit better and maybe help you guys understand a little bit more where I'm coming from, I'm going to ask you this question as well. And feel free to write your answer in the comments. I would really like to see what you guys come up with. But my question to you is, why do you want to be wealthy? Or if happiness is your goal, why do you want to be happy? Essentially, why do you want the thing that you want? Now, I'm sure you can come up with any number of reasons as to why you want the things that you want, but most of the time it's going to be, I want it because I want it, or I want it because I believe I'll be happier when I have it. Wealth, for example, you want money because you feel like your life will be easier with money. At least that's how it is for me. That's the reason I want money. I don't really care about, having tons of money to go spend on dream vacations. Really, all I care about is that I don't have to worry about it anymore. And I think a lot more people feel that way than we recognize in our society. I would enjoy being able to spend excess money, but ultimately, if I was making, $20,000 in interest every year, I could live off of that no problem. I could even, randomly go for road trips and stuff too, because I don't need much, and, honestly, having more money might cause more problems. So yeah, my goal is financial freedom. That's what I really want, is the financial freedom, so I don't have to worry about it anymore. But the reason that I want financial freedom, or the reason why I want money, is because I believe my life will be easier when I have it. And to a certain degree, that's true. Me being constantly worried about paying my bills distracts me from what I actually want to do, like make these videos and help people maybe learn some healing arts and things like that, expand my mind and my spiritual development and so on. Those are all things that are really important to me. Money is kind of an irritant at this point, which is a real shift from where I used to be as far as money is concerned. But we could talk about that later if you really want to. Leave a comment if that is something you would like me to discuss. So, whenever you're going after a goal, usually we go after it with such strong determination and focus, but both the feelings of wealth and happiness, they actually match very well with the feelings of satisfaction, rest, and peacefulness. And when you go after a goal like that with intense focus, whether you achieve it or not, you're not actually going to find the satisfaction, rest, and peacefulness, because the emotional state is not a match anymore. So you can achieve whatever your financial goal is, but it's only when you start feeling peace, satisfaction, and restfulness that you will actually achieve the thing that you want. Which means that in your focus and drive to achieve the thing that you desire, you might actually be heading in the opposite direction towards more work, more effort, and more time spent. So, if you really want to be wealthy or happy or whatever it is that you want, wouldn't it make more sense to focus on feeling those sensations now, whether or not your life circumstances match those feelings? At least that way, you're achieving the thing that you want, the feeling. And then the life circumstances can change to accommodate, because your beliefs therefore prime you for the opportunities and inspire you to act upon whatever opportunities do come your way. But this is a challenging concept. It's definitely not one that I am great with. And this is the concept of surrender, or, letting go of control, or trusting in the universe, or if you're religious, trusting in God, or putting your life in God's hands, and all these other things. Letting go of the steering wheel, letting go of the reins. All of these things are examples of surrender or letting go. And it's scary. I mean, you have to essentially trust that everything else is going to work out for your benefit. And that's not an easy thing to do. I mean, you pretty much have to be like, okay, I'm good with or without it. This will come if it's supposed to, and there's not much I can do about it except follow the inspiration or follow the desire when it comes up. I can't determine when or how this will show up in my life, so I'm just going to trust that it will. And that is a beautiful concept. I would love to live in that situation all the time. But there's always a question of how much of life is determined by fate and how much is determined by chance, and, what role do I play in the formation of the life that I'm seeking? And when you don't know how big of an impact you have on your own life, your instinct is to take full control and steer as much as you can. And that might not be the best thing, because just as if you're trying to find a new location without a map, you'll probably get lost along the way. So you need your map. And that's something you can only get when you recognize that you can't achieve this on your own. one of the cool things about surrender or about giving up is that you now allow life to surprise you. You know, all the things that you want will come in and you will be completely thrilled when you see them because you're like, I never expected things to happen that way. I just had a wonderful, well, am having a wonderful example of this happening. You know, I've been interested in having a relationship for a while now, and I didn't really know how to go about it, so my resistance was fairly low. You know, I was like, well, it'll come eventually. That'll happen. And the way that it happened has been quite fast and intense and very interesting, a little bit scary. You know, I'm not used to my life shifting that quickly in that regard. I mean, I'm pretty used to significant change in my life, but first time I've really had a romantic relationship do that. So yeah, it's been weird, but really exciting and thrilling, and not something I could have predicted or found. It just kind of came when it was supposed to, when I was a match to it, when I was no longer resistant to that change. And I think that one of the reasons why we struggle with letting go and surrendering is because we feel like we're letting go of our desire, or we're letting go of the thing that we want. We're saying we'll be okay without that object or that feeling or that situation. And that might be true to a certain degree, but the cool thing is your desire is there for a reason. If you let go of the reins, the desire now has control, and it will guide you to whatever circumstance you need to be in order to achieve the thing that you want. Whereas when you have desire and you decide to take the reins yourself, you end up piling other emotions into the cart with you, and they're all fighting for control of the rein. So by letting go and surrendering, you're actually allowing your desire to motivate your actions forward. And that's a little scary, obviously. But it makes more sense. If you let the desire guide you, you're going to reach your goal sooner than if you allow your rational brain to guide you, which is typically what I default to, is my rational brain, which in itself is a little frustrating, but another time. Ultimately, though, the decision to surrender or let go is going to come down to you. Nobody can rationally give you a reason as to why you should do this. And you can't know for sure how things will turn out. It might turn out great, it might turn out terrible. So it always comes back to this concept of, what would you rather have? Would you rather live an ordinary life because you didn't take any risks and therefore miss out on the potential for something truly amazing? Or would you rather go for an amazing life and end up getting hurt along the way as you continue to move toward your desires, towards a life that's extraordinary and unique? And personally, that second one sounds much more appealing. But even though I would rather take the chance of being hurt to achieve the truly amazing thing that I want, it's still extremely difficult to let go. So, I can't fault you if you choose the other path. There is something to be said about security, I might be used to living an uncertain life, but an uncertain life it's got its own challenges. I can't pay my bills, and that's not something everybody can necessarily deal with. Not everybody has the opportunity to deal with that. I mean, I am fairly unattached at this point. I have very generous parents, and I've got a lot of people willing to help me out, and I'm extremely grateful for that. And a little shout out to my mom here. She's been fantastic in supporting my dreams and my desire to find my way in this world, and I'm extremely grateful for that opportunity. But if you need that security, I can't fault you for going for that. This life of uncertainty is challenging. There's no doubt about it. But I am very excited to see the potential path my life might take because I took this chance. And I prefer taking that chance rather than putting myself in a job that I'm okay with but don't really care about. So I've made the decision. But even though I've made the decision, all the little details along the way each require their own surrender or a aspect of letting go as well. So even though in the broader sense I might have surrendered, the details are much harder to surrender, and I find that I have to continue to surrender over and over and over again. Like YouTube, I can't pick and choose who sees these videos or if they are even seen. And I can't choose when people will be exposed. I don't get to say that I want 1 million views on a particular video and then all of a sudden get it. I mean, a lot of these things are chance, and so while I can help them, the actual results are kind of a chance or fate thing. I don't have control over other people and their intention and their desires and all these other things. So the best thing I can do is just continue to work and then trust that my work will eventually pay off and bring me the desired goal. But, who knows when that's going to happen? Who knows when things are going to go my way in every regard? Maybe they never will. Maybe this one will come and then it'll bring some other life situation that I want to work on instead. And more than likely that's what's going to happen. But it's really cool to get to experiment with this. And like I said, uncertainty, not so fun, but the result of going through this process and seeing what I can achieve when I take the risk is rewarding in and of itself. I get to see what's really out there, what I can really do, where my life could go, how amazing it really could be if I allow it to. So I encourage you to consider this concept yourself and consider letting go of the reins a little bit, start practicing this on your own. But ultimately, it's your choice. I can't tell you to, I can't make you, I can't explain as to why this is a good idea, because honestly, logically speaking, it makes absolutely no sense. And as a very logical person, I don't like that answer, but I have found that trusting my gut, trusting my intuition, has led me to much greater experiences than following my logical brain ever has. I often end up regretting things if I just do them because my logical brain says it's a good idea. So consider this idea. I hope that you like this video. If you do, definitely click on the like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you are informed when new videos are posted. So I hope you enjoy this video. I'm really glad that you came here to see this, and I really appreciate your willingness to learn from me. So thank you again. I hope you enjoy, and I will see you again soon. Bye.